what's your plan? To keep them in the house, and you're going to give them the guest bedroom? It's kind of tough. So building and repairing, right up there, really important. And you think about, I don't know what your skill level is, but if you have to build some extra room, if you have your own house, and in a really bad scenario, you might have company. So if you don't know how to build an addition to your house, if you have the materials, and then you can barter with someone to come and help you do it, or whatever. But the bottom line is, it's better to have materials and tools and not need them than to need them and not have them. Okay, next up on the list is fuel and energy. And of course, this is the stuff we use to power the other stuff that we use. Our whole energy grid and our whole fuel system is really vulnerable right now, in the sense that there are possible wars looming, and all this conflict in the Middle East, and NASA's been warning about solar flares that will have EMP effects, and then of course there's possible war weapons that provide EMP effects and this type of thing. The bottom line is this: if you have the ability to switch over or rely heavily on wood fuel for heating your home, definitely do that. If you're stuck with gas or oil, you're at the mercy of the fuel prices. And if you're stuck with electric, unfortunately, if the power grid goes down, then you're in a cold home. So definitely switch over to wood, or have wood as a backup if you can. And of course, the fuel and energy also relates to batteries and whatnot for handheld devices. All important. Alright, next up on the list is communication, and this is a pretty big one, pretty important. Basically, a lot of people have all their communication tied into the internet these days. They get their cable, they have their phone, and they have their internet all into the one internet connection. The internet definitely will go down. It's just a matter of when, and it's a matter of how long. Personally, I think that if there's any serious amount of civil unrest in the country, the president will flip the switch that's been approved and disconnect the net so people cannot communicate. You definitely should take a look into other means of finding out what's going on and communicating to other people. CB radios for your vehicle are pretty cheap these days. You can get short waves, this type of thing. I spent about $50. I got a pair of pretty good walkie-talkies, and I can go and I can give one of them to a neighbor up the road if it really comes to that, and we can communicate that way. So definitely consider communication. Next on my list is stock items, and this is what I refer to stuff you use everyday items like toothpaste, deodorant, dish soap, rags, paper plates, etc. Just everyday, common items that you use. Okay, next up are barter items, and these are items that you don't necessarily use yourself, but they do have good value to others. And the two easy examples are tampons and cigarettes. Next up is transportation. Okay, if you're not in a city, you most likely must have a car. So you'll want to keep that running as long as possible during a SHTF situation. And if you're lucky enough to have a pre-computer car, it's probably EMP proof. But this is just common sense. If you have a vehicle and you're able to keep it running long enough and you're outside the cities, you'll be able to get around and do stuff. If not, you're going to have to rely on walking, and now would be a good time to consider buying a bike. Horses, they're like a really big commitment, so I don't know if I could really advocate that for most people. Certainly, obviously, if you're in the city. If you're in the city, you're not going to buy a horse unless you're Jim from Taxi, who, if you remember that episode, had the racing horse in his apartment, but let me not go off on that. Next up on the list is books, and we all know knowledge is power. So when the internet goes down, we'll be left with hard copy and, anything we can still pull up on our computers. But of course, if the power goes down for any sustained amount of time, it'll be hard copy only. So books, and when I say books, I also refer to any printouts that you can do now. So if you print out like little manuals and little how-tos and stuff, I recommend that everybody do that. And get those books, read up on them, have a general idea of some of the stuff that you might have to do or want to work on, and that way when it comes to time, you'll be able to know how to do it, or at least you'll be off running, rather than sitting out in the field referring to page of how to plant seeds. Okay, next up on the list is clothes. Can you make a pair of pants from scratch and not look like Tarzan? It's my question to you, because I know I cannot. If I try and make clothes, I will look like a homeless dude on 48th Street and 10th Avenue. Warm socks and good boots are key. Okay? Very important. Prioritize those. And, the rest of the clothes, get stuff while you can. It doesn't hurt if you stop growing. Like me, I'm at the age where I don't grow anymore, and I can stock up on clothes, and I know as long as I keep them, I guess, dry and the moths away, they'll be good. So no reason why not to buy some extra clothes right now. Okay, entertainment is next on the list. Now, most people would overlook this as a survival point, but play, quote, play, is ingrained in perhaps all creatures. You ever watch monkeys play around, or of course we've all seen dogs play around and horses play around. Pretty much everything plays. I don't really know if I've ever seen like bugs play, but whatever. Especially during a SHTF scenario, the ability to detox from the harsh realities going on and take a few minutes to recharge your batteries is key. I mean, that's like, it's on par up there with like sleeping, and the fact that if you just get away from things and detox and are able to rest your mind, you're gonna see a difference. You're gonna be refreshed. You're gonna be able to make better decisions, and you're gonna have a better outlook. And definitely entertainment is an important aspect. Okay, 10 times as much, especially if you have kids. Okay, last on the list is metals/money. And regardless of where the economy is headed, we are a money-based society, and we've been a money-based society for quite some time. Yes, things might default to a barter system at some point, but it's important to keep money on store to purchase things. And if your stocks and your goods are limited right now, so you're not going to be able to barter too much at this point, then this aspect is of particular importance to you. So what I'm saying is, if you live in the city, let's say, and you're in a small studio apartment and you don't really have much, okay, then that puts a really big light, shines a really big light on your metals and money aspect. You have to make sure you have that in order, because that's... Okay, folks, so that is my list. Run it down real quick again. It's water, food short-term, food long-term, food sustainable, food livestock, health medical, arms and ammo, materials and tools, fuel, energy, communication, stock items, barter items, transportation, books, clothes, entertainment, and metals and money. And basically just recapping on what I said at the very beginning of this video. So what I'll do is I'll make a purchase. Let's just say I do water, and then my next purchase may be health medical, and I'll check these off on my little list here. And then the next purchase, maybe it'll be communication. A check goes on that, and I'll just bounce around on the list, and I will try and hit everything on the list before I go back and hit the next thing again. And I think that's a really good way to spread it apart. And